Okay, hello artists, Mrs. Castle here, and we're going to talk about gradations with the oil pastel. And okay, we did the value scales. That should be separate values in each square. These are bigger square or bigger rectangles, so we want a smooth progression from light to dark or dark to light. That's what we're aiming for. So my first one, I'm going to use purple, and I'm going to have to peel off some of the paper here. It's okay to peel off the paper as long as you put the paper in the trash. Don't leave it in the bucket. Okay, so I'm going to start with my dark end. I outline the whole thing. Like we did with the charcoal and the graphite, I'm gonna kind of use one layer-ish all the way down. And then I'm gonna add another layer about a third of the way down, and there shouldn't be an obvious edge. Sometimes if you do kind of that edge irregular, like a zigzag, kind of, that helps. Then I'm going to do a third layer. It goes about halfway down. And then my last layer that I'm going to only do to about there. Okay, so I've kind of got a gradation going just with using my purple pastel. Now, like we did with these other ones, I'm going to add white to it, but I'm going to start at the opposite end because that's where we want it to be the lightest.
So I'm going to go lightly out
2/3 to 3/4 of the way down, and I'm going to add more about halfway and more about 1/4 of the way, so it's completely, so down here is as light as it can get.
I'm almost there.
Okay, I'm starting to get little crumbs. You can kind of smush them back down in. But when you start getting crumbs, you can't layer up anymore. I'm going to go back with my purple and kind of blend. I'm going to kind of get lighter. I'm going to kind of blend that in. Okay, that middle part is going to kind of be the trickiest. So if you can kind of blend them in, then you've got a nice good gradation. See, the next one, let's do red or red-orange. So I'm going to go about it same kind of way. But maybe I won't go quite all the way down to the end this time. Maybe like leave that much, but we still want to make that edge irregular.
One layer. And then do another layer with an irregular edge.
There, there was a little bit of black or something on there. We can fix it, but we might not need to right now. So I'm gonna I'm gonna use my white. I'm gonna start down here, the end of the box. Then I can use the pastel to kind of
Smush that.
I keep forgetting to put my knee up against the leg of the table. If your table's wiggling and you're close to one of the legs of the table, you can kind of push your knee up against the leg of the table, and that will help reduce wiggling. I don't think that's going to blend in. So I'm going to take my nail and scrape as much of that off as I can. There's still a little bit that kind of went into the paper, but it won't be as much. We might even be able to cover it completely. It's not a perfect erasing, but it's close. Okay, I'm going to leave that kind of irregular. Okay, my pink is getting mixed in there, too far down in there, so I'm going to wipe my pastel off so I can get back to my pure white. And I'm starting to get my little crumbs, so that's about as layered up as it can get. And if you're pressing gently, that helps. Okay, and I got really light, darker, really light. So I'm gonna scrape off some of that darker area. And I've got popsicle sticks you can do this with, but my nails are kind of handy. Okay, so that's improved. It's not perfect, but it's improved. Okay, so I'm going to go to the middle and see if we can kind of get a nice transition between that middle section is the trickiest. That might be as good as we can get. Okay, so if you do 2, that's all that's required, but for a third one, the lighter colors are the most difficult, but let's see. Oops, that doesn't go in there. Let's do yellow orange. I'm not going to quite go all the way down. I have not mentioned yet, you absolutely cannot use erasers on this or blending stumps. Erasers won't work on this, and you'll ruin the blending stump. So you may only use blending stump on charcoal, graphite, and color, and well, won't really work on colored pencils. Graphite, charcoal, and soft pastel. Oil pastels, do not use erasers, do not use blending stumps. I forgot to make that kind of irregular. We don't want hard lines in our oil pastel. I forgot to clean it. And this is getting kind of short. So this is a place where we try to scrape it off as best we can. I'm going to clean this off a little better. There's all kinds of, with your lighter colors, you got to be careful. Might be able to get some more of that off later. Kind of the more white you layer on there, and even if you blend it around some, sometimes that can help get rid of that. Somewhere I picked up some, there was some blue on there. There we go. So extra credit. You can use whatever colors you want. Just be aware that lighter colors can be a little bit trickier. Okay? All right. Thanks for watching.